Yes, the Fatima Secret is something that was written down by the person who received this secret information back in the 1930s and the 20s. And the person who wrote it down is still alive. Her name is Lucia, and she's a nun in Spain, in Coimbra. She's a Carmelite nun. And it's called the Third Secret, and it was sent over to the Pope, and according to the instructions that Sister Lucia got from the Blessed Virgin Mary, she says and claims, and we all accept it, it was the Pope of 1960 who was supposed to reveal the secret and follow out the instructions, do what it said. The Pope of 1960 was the good Pope John, the 23rd. He refused to do that. He refused to obey Our Lady. He refused the mandate of heaven. He refused to publish the secret, and he refused to do what it said.
Wow.
And consequently, we're in trouble. That's roughly the third secret. Now, what's the third secret? It's rather a dire document, ma'am. It's not pleasant reading at all. I'm under oath not to reveal the actual details of it because I read it.
You read it?
I read it. I can't break my oath in that matter, but it is not pleasant reading at all.
Does this involve a chastisement?
Yes. Several.
All right.
Remember, I had the dubious privilege of reading the text of the Third Secret of Fatima, which I must guard by oath of repeating, but it isn't pleasant.
I have a whole stack of faxes here asking me to ask you about that, and you obviously cannot speak of that.
Not factually, not word for word. I can't. I took a note. But it ain't pleasant. The less you know about it, the better. Except that there is going to be a reckoning, and that nobody existing on the face of this earth will be exempt from knowing the power from on high. They will interpret it in different ways.
That stands to reason. According to their beliefs.
That's right, their culture and their bias. And there will be people who are faced with the certainty that there is a greater power above our heads will say...
They will deny it. They will...
They'll reject it.
The scientists, for example, will find a scientific explanation for it.
Well, they will. Remember the famous so-called Aurora Borealis in 1938?
Well, I certainly am aware of Aurora Borealis, but not one specific.
There was a specific one, which they explained by saying Aurora Borealis, but it really wasn't that at all. They all agreed it wasn't Aurora Borealis. The only one who put his finger on it was Adolf Hitler.
And he said what?
Well, he was in Berchtesgaden at the Wolf's Lair. That was his famous place when he for a weekend with his cabinet. And Speer, Albert Speer, who was a member of his cabinet, his architect, tells us in his second book that night they all stood on the esplanade of his villa in the Bavarian mountains, looking out to the east and seeing these extraordinary sights of light. And Hitler said, "Yeah, nun, now we have to shed blood. We didn't shed blood in taking the Tsar, we didn't shed blood in taking Czechoslovakia, but now we're going to shed blood."
So he took that as a sign.
Oh, he took it, and it was a sign. The Virgin who told the children in Fatima in 1917 about this sign, she told them it would take place just before the Great World War. She said, it'll be just before they start killing millions.
Can you tell us in a way that we can read between the lines with regard to the third prophecy? Is there a timetable that you are aware of that cannot speak of that we can read between the lines on?
Yes and no. There is It is not 200 years away. It is not 50 years away. It is not 20 years away. Number one.
Well, that's...
And number two, it involves the entire world system. It's not merely one area, not merely one religion, not merely one race.
Will be apparent to all.
All, without exception. Without exception, and it will be frightening.
Okay, well, I think I've asked as much as I want to...
We talked some time ago about 3 days of darkness. You said it would be dangerous to be abroad, outside your home, or even inside your home.
Yeah.
Somebody is asking, what is the nature of the danger? Is it civil, natural, spiritual?
It is spiritual.
Spiritual.
Spiritual, yes. That particular prophetic fact, excuse my diction, is based on a private revelation which churchmen have accepted, which the Roman churchmen have accepted, made in various places in the year 1846 in La Salette, France, and in Fatima, Portugal, in 1917, and then at various other places since then. And it concerns the arrival of a final chastisement of punishment from God to purify men and women and prepare them for entry into heaven. Not rapture-like, according to the normal one evangelical theory, but actually the end of the world. It's not exactly around the corner, Art. It's at the time when a figure called the Antichrist is abroad, and it's a very complicated issue, the whole thing, but the actual danger itself during those 3 days of total darkness over the earth, the dimming of the sun completely, and no light, it's a time when the last efforts of the demons to run our lives and to rescue, take souls away from the salvation that Christ has worked out. Now, this brings up the whole question of function of angels and demons. We must touch on that some other time together and go into it. Otherwise, a lot of this talk is unintelligible to a lot of people, not even intelligent.